Hey everybody, welcome to the next video. This video is actually going to be my 10K subscriber special. I know it's a little bit late and I just reached 18,000. So, uh yeah, 10,000 subs. Yay. Okay, so this video is going to be going over basically my competitive career and just my League of Legends career, I guess. So we're going to go over basically everything. I will be maybe not talking about some things because some of it I just don't want to make public. But for the most part, I'm going to try to tell the whole entire story, not leaving any important details out, even though some of it is kind of weird. So, or maybe some of it is a little bit sad. So, to start it off, I've always been a gamer. I have gamed a ton when I was a kid, playing Pokemon and stuff, and playing some console games. I've mainly been a console gamer, actually. So during high school and middle school, I played a ton of Xbox. That's the Xbox and Xbox 360. That's the games that I played. I played barely any PC games except for RuneScape. That's all I really played. I played RuneScape a ton. So the games that I played on Xbox were just, I played Command & Conquer a lot. I really enjoyed that game, but I also played a ton of shooting games. So I played Halo, Halo 2, Halo 3, Call of Duty 4, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, you know, like Call of Duty World at War. So I played so many shooters. So wasn't a big PC gamer. So junior year of high school, I get introduced to playing a computer game, and it was League of Legends, and it reminded me of playing Footman Frenzy, and it reminded me of playing mini games on StarCraft and Warcraft 3. Actually, I played some Warcraft 3 Frozen Throne when it wasn't that popular, and I loved playing stuff like Tree Tag and Team Lion Tower Defense, and I played like a lot of custom games. And I didn't really like playing Dota, believe it or not, but I did enjoy the aspect of having a champion or a hero, and then you get levels and you fight other people. I love that concept. So when I started playing League, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is absolutely amazing. So this was season 1, junior year. I played it. I think I played so much. Oh my gosh, I must have played at least 1,500 to 2,000 games season 1, but I only played normals season 1. So during season 1, I only played normals, and I ended up actually only being bronze because I played about 13 ranked games, and I think my win-loss for those 13 was like 5 and 7 or something. So I ended the season bronze because I didn't even play during that time. I do know during this time, though, season 1, that when I was playing so many normals, I actually cared about my win-loss eventually near the end. I realized that at the end, or near the end of the season, I was like 600 or so wins and 800 losses. And I was like, wow, my win-loss actually sucks. And I was a pretty competitive person because when playing Call of Duty, I did compare my KDA to my friends. I compared my win rate to my friends. And I was like, we would compare like just stats overall. And I noticed that my stats on this for win-loss were pretty bad. I was like, oh man, that kind of sucks. So I want to fix that. So I decided to really try hard inside games to make it so my win-loss was at least like 100 or 200 wins more than my losses, because right now I was negative 200 losses. So I played a ton more normals, and I actually was able to, I don't remember when this was, but I was able to get it to like 1,200 wins and 1,000 losses. So I was able to make it increase by like a total of 200 wins over the losses. So I was super happy about that. Also during this time, I was looking up stats of who I was playing versus, and I was playing versus people who were, there was no diamond during this time. Platinum was the highest elo during season 1, and I was playing versus golds and platinums and actually doing pretty decent against them. I was like, wow. So I got like a little bit of confidence, and I was like, oh wow, maybe I can actually, you know, beat these guys if I ever play ranked. So season 2 comes around, and this is when I'm a high school senior, and I decide that I'm going to try ranked for the first time. And I was extremely nervous when doing this. When playing ranked, you know, why do I have my headset on? I'm gonna take that off. I was just like, should I have my headset on? I guess I don't need it on because there's no reason to have it on. So I was super nervous during My first ranked game. Like, I remember, I think I was playing Rise or something, and I was literally like shaking. Like I had so much adrenaline going when I was first playing ranked. It was absolutely insane, and I enjoyed it a lot. And I actually was able to climb all the way to platinum like instantly. I climbed extremely quickly. So that's season 2 is when they introduced Diamond Elo, and this is when Elo was a thing and it wasn't LP and divisions. So Elo is it was just you gained Elo and lose Elo, and that was how you got ranked up. So like I think it was 2000 LP or 2100 is Diamond Elo. And I was like, I gotta end Diamond because Diamond is the highest Elo you could be. There was no such thing as a challenger back in season 2. So I really grinded and tried to make it to Diamond, and I was like, I think 3 wins away. And this has happened before, and so I was like 3 wins away, and I decided to play another game, and it was like at midnight on a school night, and I lost. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to play another until I win. Because I don't want to end it on a loss. That would suck. So I lost another game. I was like, I mean, it sucks. I'm only like 5 wins away from Diamond. I just want to end it on a win, and I lost. And then I lost like 10 in a row, and I actually did not sleep. I literally stayed up the entire night losing all of my elo, and I was super tilted, like beyond tilted. So I was like, I guess I'm just not gonna end the season Diamond, unfortunately. And I was like, I don't care anymore. I'm just gonna play the game and have fun. And I started doing that, and I actually climbed back up extremely quickly. I was winning every single game. I was just having fun. I didn't care about my LP anymore, and I was just winning every single game. It was great. And then what happens is I'm once again, like, I would say 5 to 3 wins away from being diamond tier. So a 2100 or 2200 elo. And what happens is my account actually gets hacked, and the person actually plays on it and makes me lose. He actually wins 1 game. He won the first game. I was like, oh, the guy actually won. And then he proceeded to play around like 7 more games over the weekend. I submitted a ticket right away. I was like, please give me back my account. And I submitted the ticket, and they didn't get back to me until like Monday. Maybe they don't work on the weekends or something, right, during that time or something, but, or I don't know if it was a weekday either, but so I finally get back to close to being diamond. My account gets hacked, and the guy plays like 7 games, wins 1, loses 6, and I lose a bunch of LP again. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm super frustrated, and I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna have to get it all back, and I actually do, and I end the season 2404, which actually was top 100 when I looked up the stats at the end of the season. So I was top 100 by the end of season 2. So I was super happy about that. And during this time, I didn't really play mid lane. I didn't play it for a team. I just played everywhere. I played Irelia, Teemo top. I played Blitzcrank bot. I played some AD carries. I played mid lane champions. I just played everywhere. I even played jungle, and I was extremely good at Nidalee mid. That's what I played a ton back in the day. I was known as like a Nidalee one trick, kind of. Not really an actual one trick, but she was just my favorite champion, so I played a lot more of her than most other champions. So next year is my first year of college, and I just wasn't interested in going. I just wasn't really mature during that age to go to school, and I just didn't really want to go. I wanted to try to go pro, and I actually quit going to school, but the way that I quit was pretty bad because like I did fail some classes from just not going. So I just wasn't mature. If I was to go back, some people really struggle inside their first years, and I was one of the people that probably it would be good to take a break and do something else. And if I was to go back to school now, I definitely would be able to actually go to my classes, because back then I had a ton of anxiety, and I think I had some mild depression too. So I literally was not even going to school, and I was allowed to leave school from my mom said, fine, you can try this going pro thing. So thankful for that. I'll make it super short. So I quit the school, and I wanted to try to go pro, so I just continue playing League every single day and doing stuff like that. I do stream for a little bit, but it doesn't really turn out to be anything. I'm pretty sure I should have done streaming in YouTube, and I shouldn't have quit it so many times, but I mean, I guess I just wasn't mature to have like a schedule to do those types of things. I don't know why. So I did join one team and it didn't work out. I'm not really going to go over that. I'm going to go over the most important parts of my League of Legends career. So the first team that I really joined that I guess was a true team was VVV. I joined VVV. I played from home. We played open qualifier to make it into the Challenger series. And I think we actually made it into the open qualifier and we're playing inside of the Challenger series to get a spot in. And I think this is when they were expanding the LCS possibly. So I think this was season 3, season 4. And when I was on VVV, it was with some notable players were Chris in the top lane, and I think Get Snuggled in the jungle or something. But anyways, we play against LMQ. And LMQ was a 5 import team with Zhao Wei Zhao, Vasily, I don't know the other players, but it was 5 imports of Korean and Chinese players. I'm pretty sure. Maybe they weren't all, but basically it was 5 imports because the import rule wasn't made yet. So I was like, oh my gosh, we just got hard stomped. I mean, there was no way for us to win. So I lose and I don't make it in a Challenger series. So I'm like, damn. Well, I guess I just have to try again next year. So, or whatever next split maybe. I think I tried another split and didn't really work out. So what happens is, I think it was season 4. I get contacted by Team Coast to play for them. They added me on account. That's how I found out. One of the persons, it was like Coast, someone added me and they were like, we're interested in trying you out to join our Coast team. This is not in the LCS. This is in the Challenger because Coast was in LCS and then they got relegated out. So they were in the LCS, they get relegated out, and now they're trying to make it back into the LCS and they contact me to be the mid laner. What was really funny was that I was pretty nervous. I was like, oh my gosh, wait, this is actually going to be my first real chance because this is actually a pretty good team. The VVV, the ELO disparities between the team, we were varying from, I think, some D3 players to D1 players. So it wasn't really the best. And then this Coast one is like going to be all challengers. So we're all going to be crazy good, right? And they have a name for themselves too. So I was really happy and the person messages me and I'm like, all right, so who am I trying out against? Because I'm like, I'm sweating. I'm like, all right, I really want to make this spot. Who am I versus so I can know if you like, I'll know if I can beat this other person that I'm trying out versus. And they would say, oh, the other person is Raptor Baby Jesus is the username. And I was like, oh, that's my Smurf account. It's me. That's both my accounts. And they were like, oh, okay, so I guess we'll just use you then. I'm like, oh yes, finally. I could join Team Coast, I can make it somewhere, and I can finally do what I want to do. So I joined my first team, I joined my first team house, and we were living there with a different team. So there was like 10 people living in this house because Bishu was there. It was us and Vortex, I think. Vortex was the team. So it was Coast and Vortex live inside the same house, and we scrimmed every single day, and I think we never lost a scrim to Vortex. It was like every single day we would scrim Vortex, we would just beat them. We were beating everyone in scrims, and I think that our Challenger series, when we played in Challenger series, we just won every single game. I think we ended the season only losing like 1 time. So we're doing pretty good, and we just crushed the Challenger series. We go against Renegades inside of the playoffs for the first spot. The first spot we actually lose to Renegades, and I don't play very well. I played versus Alex Itch. But that doesn't mean that it's over, right? Because there's actually 2 spots. So the next spot is Renegades, Enemy. So the next spot, we play against Enemy to take their spot. We beat them, we 3-0 them, and I was extremely happy to join the LCS. I still remember when we won 3-0. It was pretty dominant, but like we won, I was like, nice, like we won the game. And like we're all just sitting there, and then Chris, our top laner, was like, he gets up from his seat, he's like yes, and then he like sits back down because we're not all super excited. But I was like excited, but we knew that we were gonna win, so we weren't that excited because it wasn't something that was like, oh my god, that was such a close series. I'm so glad we won because we won pretty single-handedly. And I was so happy. I remember doing an interview and I was like, I'm so happy that I get to grow inside the LCS, and I finally made it. And now I can hopefully prove myself in the LCS and grow. Like I just want to have that happen. So what happens is I am notified by the coach or the owner or something that they're actually going to sell the coast spot and that I'm not going to be playing inside the LCS. So they're going to sell the spot, and they were selling it to NRG. Yeah. And there was no tryout. I didn't get a tryout. They said I got a tryout. I didn't get a tryout. So I don't get a tryout, and they just kick me off. And the spot was sold, my knowledge was about $1 to $1.5 million for the spot. They gave me $5,000, which it's an okay amount of money until you realize that that's literally less than 1% of $1 million. So basically, I got less than 1% of the total sale for helping them get inside the LCS. You could say that they could have used any mid or whatever, but I think that the players should have gotten at least 2 to 3% each, because that would be $15,000 to $20,000 each for giving them so much, especially because the salary at the time, I was only getting $500 a month. Everything is paid for, my rent's paid for, my food wasn't really paid for, and I was just getting $500 a month for playing. So it's not like they had really big expenses. So yeah, I thought that, now that I thought about it, I was pretty young and innocent and naive, and I didn't realize that it actually was such a fucking bad deal. Like, yeah. So after that, we start scrimming with the new team because they tell me that they're gonna help me. We're gonna do the Challenger Series once again, and then this time inside the Challenger Series, if we make inside the Challenger Series, then they're gonna give us a real salary that's pretty decent. So we start scrimming again, and during this time, Chris and Shrimp, our jungler, both go back to their house for like vacation or whatever. So we're actually not using them during this time, and we're scrimming and getting ready for the next qualifier. So it's not the Challenger Series after Team Coast, but because we made into LCS, the next split happens, right? And I need to make it back into the qualifier, and they're just gonna be doing that. So Chris and Shrimp are not there with us, and we're scrimming, and we're doing pretty good. And during the qualifier, Chris and Shrimp come back to the house, a new house, by the way. We had to swap houses too, so I had to move out of the house that we were previously in. Everybody did, and we had to move into a new house. And Chris and Shrimp come back during the qualifier for the next for the tournament, for the qualifier tournament. They come back, and we decide that we're gonna use them for the qualifier, despite not scrimming with them. And it was really bad. Like, Chris, not to be toxic or anything, but he was doing really bad top. He was getting solo killed, and Shrimp actually died to Raptors. He died to his jungle camp during the first game, and I think this was a best of 3. So we got 2-0'd, like, during one of the first rounds. I think it was the first round of the qualifier, and we just lost. So we don't make it into the Challenger Series, and because of that, they decide to Team Coast rebrands into Team Apex, and they're gonna be doing another Challenger Series run. But they actually already own a spot inside the Challenger Series. I think they just bought it out. But what I was gonna be on was actually the B team of Apex. So what happens is they actually are gonna use a different mid laner. They tell me that they're gonna use a different mid laner for this. They were gonna use, I think it was Keen. So basically, because I didn't make it into the Challenger Series qualifier, they told me that they're just gonna kick me, and I have to either go back home or find a different team. I obviously don't want to go back home at that time because I still think that I want to go pro. So I talked to this team that's in Ohio, that's within the Challenger Series that made it in, and I talked to this guy, and there were some red flags, but I'm innocent and naive. So he tells me about, he has a team that has Surnefire, and Surnefire just made it into Academy team. I forgot what Academy team he just recently joined. I think it was Team Liquid or something, but Surnefire, who's Oceanic, he's made it to Worlds a couple times even, and then Double G, who is an 80 carry from EU. So they are inside the Challenger Series, and he said I can move in with them inside of Ohio, and I could live there with them, and that they have a room for me, and they have a PC for me. And it turns out to be a complete shit show, and this is one of the craziest stories. So, first, he tells me that I'm gonna have to get out there, and will buy my ticket. He tells me that like the day before I'm supposed to be flying, when I'm asking for my itinerary, he's like, "Oh, it turns out the flight didn't go through because his card wasn't working. It didn't work." So he tells me that I have to buy it. So I buy my ticket to go there. So I buy my ticket and I arrive in Ohio, and it's super cold in Ohio. It was like winter or something, and it was snowing. But I arrived there. I arrived to it was like an apartment near a college. So it was mostly for like college students and stuff, but doesn't mean that you don't have to go to school to rent it out. And how it works is that there's rooms, and basically what it was is you can rent for like, let's say 800 a month, and then you get one room. They give you a key for a room. There's other rooms that can make your apartment bigger, but you must pay like 150 to 200 more to get into those rooms. So the rooms were actually locked, and you pay more rent to unlock those rooms. That's how it worked. So if you can basically get a single room apartment for 800, or you can get a 2-bedroom of the same exact room for 1,000 if you're going to pay that extra money to get those keys for those rooms. So my room that he said that was mine was locked, and he was like, "Don't worry, we're just gonna have it for you like extremely soon." So what he does is he gets a locksmith to come out, and he just drills the hole of the lock inside of the room to make it so they just unhinge the whole entire doorknob. They just take off the doorknob. So there's no doorknob on the room anymore, and that's my room. So obviously I don't know how legal that is, but that was my room. So there's no PC inside the room. I'm actually going to be playing from a college that was about walking distance away in their PC lab. So that's where I was going to be practicing scrims and stuff. And what his plan is, in about like 2 weeks or something, I was 2 to 3 weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks, we're going to be going to LA for the qualifier, because it will give us lower ping if we're in LA, because Ohio's further away, and the qualifier is like gonna be on the client when it was still on the west side, so we would have like 10 ping or something. So during this time we're scrimming and stuff, and I noticed that basically he's not feeding people. So during this time I'm basically buying everybody's meals, which is the Surnefire, the Double G, and me. And like the tensions rise between the Surnefire and the coach. The coach didn't really mind about me because I didn't really talk back to him, but Surnefire always talked back to him. And we're scrimming and stuff, and it's doing okay. And I'm like, I mean, this guy's a little crazy, but it's okay. Like, as soon as we make it in Challenger Series, everything will be a lot better, because this is kind of a weird situation to be in, having to play at in a college lab. So, the day of the flight, we get inside of a van to go, and I'm like, dang, we only have like 2 hours to make it there. And we arrive there about 1 hour before the flight, and we didn't even print out our tickets or check in. If you don't know, if you don't check into a flight beforehand, you basically can't check in anymore. So we miss our flight. Another fight breaks out, and the coach basically says, "Fuck all of you guys. Like, you guys don't respect me at all. I don't care anymore, and it can be your team, and do whatever the fuck you guys want." So I'm like, all right, this is pretty fucking awkward, because we all have to go back together. So he gets the van to come back. The van cab, it was like, it wasn't an actual cab, but it was like almost like an Uber. It was super dirty. But we arrive back. He doesn't have money to pay for the cab, so he actually pays the cab driver with his Adderall. He uses Adderall, and he gave him his Adderall to pay off the cab. And then I'm like, all right, so this guy doesn't care anymore. Let's do everything. So me, Double G, and Surnefire all go out to go eat dinner. And I'm talking to them. I'm like, so what we're going to do is I'll get all the tickets for the team. So I contact the airport, and I tell them, all right, so we missed our flight. Can you get me these flights for cheaper? And I'm going to buy 3 flights or whatever. And they gave me a deal on it to get it within like 2 or 3 days, which was pretty nice. So I was able to purchase everybody's tickets to get out of this situation and into LA to still play on this team, because we did make it into the qualifier, and we have to, we could win this easily, because we're actually a pretty strong team. So, I also contact Riot. after the flights, and I say like what's happening, and he's like, "Oh, well, you guys didn't do any contracts, so basically, um, you can have the team." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I become the team owner immediately. I'm like, he didn't submit any contracts or anything, so I guess it's just ours now. So I become the team owner, and we're getting ready to do everything. And also, what I noticed was that uh, later on, down the road, he actually tried to take the team back a little bit, but he learns that he has he says Schernfire is contracted to him as a player, and then like it had his, because Schernfire I think at the time was 17, so he couldn't sign his own, so it had his father's signature. His father never got the thing, so he actually uh forged his father's signature. This coach did. So he forged Schernfire's father's signature just to add to the craziness of this guy. So what happens is, as we get closer to the day that we need to fly out to the to LA to do the tournament, right? We decide the day of, we go out to eat, and we're like, what if it's difficult to get our stuff? Like, he makes a big scene or something. We don't want a big scene. I was trying to be very smart about this. And I brought it up, and Double G agreed. Was like, we should get a police officer to just come with us to watch over us when we get our stuff to leave. Because we're going to leave pretty early. We wanted to leave like 6 hours before our flight. There's no reason to stay there. We can't do anything there. So we go get a police officer to come with us. And he knocks on the door, and everything's locked. And we see him, and he runs into his room, and the officer's like, what is he doing? And we're like, I don't know, dude. Like, this guy, I don't know what's going on. But he eventually does let us in, and like there was like minor talking back and forth. The coach actually didn't mind about me, so I was able to just get my stuff, and I'm like, all right, I don't really have that much. I don't have a PC or anything, and we can go. But he was very annoyed with Schernfire, and Schernfire and Double G get all of their stuff, and they head out of the room. After they head out of the room, Schernfire's like, oh, fuck, I didn't log out of everything on the PC. And then the coach is like, that's my PC, you cannot touch my property. And the cop's like, if that's his property, legally, I'm sorry, I can't help you with this, so you actually can't log out of your stuff. Double G did it beforehand, and Double G's like, why the fuck did you say something? You could have done it right there, but because you said something, Neil's gonna be all fucked up, like, towards you. So, the coach was like, yeah, just trying to be really fucking mean about it. So, we finally are able to, and because Schernfire was not able to log out of his stuff, 6 months later, suddenly his Twitch account gets hacked and plays material that is explicit, and it would get you banned on Twitch. Let's just say that his Twitch account was hacked, and it was playing some stuff on Twitch that maybe is some adult stuff that should not be on Twitch. So excuse me. So we make it to the airport 6 hours early. We're all super fucking happy. We're making jokes about this whole entire situation, how crazy this guy is, and we're finally happy to be on a flight and heading out of this. So we get picked up by one of the girls who works at Esports Arena, who takes us to the hotel that we're staying at, because basically we had arrangements with a LAN center to play at their LAN center when we arrived there. So we have a hotel set up, we have a LAN center that we're going to play at during the tournament. So we get picked up by one of the girls who works at Esports Arena, which is the LAN center that we were playing at, and take us to the hotel that we're staying at. And we arrived at the hotel, and we're on the second balcony, about to walk into our room. And I remember standing looking at Schernfire, and then Schernfire is facing towards me, so there's a walkway behind that you head into the rooms. And then around the corner comes our fucking coach. Our coach rounds the corner suddenly after going from Ohio to LA, and I just remember I was like, what the fuck, this guy actually is here? Like, how did he even arrive here? How does he know where we are? And then Schernfire turns around and he's just like, he's Australian, so he has an accent, so he's like, what the fuck? It was pretty funny, honestly. Like, when I get nervous, I laugh too. So I was like kind of laughing. I was like, I was in complete shock. So he followed us and he says that he doesn't want us to tarnish his name and defend his image. We're pretty freaked out, but we decided to basically just ignore him and just do our own stuff. So we have our own room and stuff. We don't have to spend time with him and we can do whatever we want. So I'm told by the tournament people that I'm not allowed to play. Believe it or not. So I'm not allowed to play inside the tournament because I didn't put myself on the roster despite being the owner. So I was like, oh shit. All right. So we had a different mid laner beforehand because they made it into the qualifier without me or something. So they had a different mid laner, so we have to use him instead. At the time, Varus mid was pretty strong, and I decided to help him learn Varus mid. I remember doing 1v1s against him because he was a very passive player, and I knew that he could actually harass with Varus because there was no way you could beat Varus early on during this time. Varus could just walk up and auto you and E you and Q you, and there was no way to counter back playing certain champions, like even Orianna, and he was just too passive of a player. So I teach him, and then I'm like, good luck, man. I know you can play very aggressive versus this guy, so I need you to do it for us. So he plays the game, and he actually solo kills enemy mid laner, and he plays extremely well versus this guy. During this time, I also was standing behind my team, looking at their monitors, so I don't see anything special. I don't see the whole entire map. I don't see the enemy's team vision. I just am looking at my own team's monitors. There was only 2 of us there, too. It was just me, or maybe there was 3. Our mid laner wasn't there, but I don't see the whole entire map, and I was telling them behind them, like, kind of what to do at occasions when I was like, you guys just see that guy's bot right now, right? So just go mid instead and just push that tower or something. Like, I just gave advice. So I guess it was like maybe a little tiny bit of cheating, but it's not like I saw the whole entire map. It was like I was being an in coach somewhat. It was like I was in the game, except for not playing. So it was pretty easy to see macro play stuff. But the enemy team, afterwards losing, were very upset losing to this mid laner, so they accused me of being on his account and playing for him, because there was no way their mid laner can lose to this guy. And they didn't find anything because, I mean, I didn't play on his account. And they lost to him, and they were just upset. So after that, while still at Esports Arena, I get contacted by Broken Shard to play for his team that he's going to make in NA. So I talked to him about our team that just made it into the Challenger Series, and he should pick up our team rather than waiting for next split. So I was able to talk to him and actually get him to have us join his team, so we turn into Dream Team. His team was Dream Team, and he was going to make a new one, but I convinced him into getting our team that already made it into the Challenger Series. And I was able to get reimbursed all of my money for flights, food, and hotels, which actually amounted to about $3,000. So I spent $3,000 across all 3 of us to make sure that we weren't fucking starving and homeless. And yeah. So I was able to get reimbursed for it, and I even got us a signing bonus of saying we played the qualifier tournament for 1 month. That's how long the qualifier took. So we should get 1 month's salary too. So we should get a reimbursement plus a signing bonus. So I was able to get both of us for me. My teammates didn't really need reimbursement. They did spend some money, but not nearly as much as I did for the hotel and stuff. So we go under a new brand of the Dream Team, and we pick up some new players. We pick up the team was Fire, me, Anda, who played for 100 Thieves last season as their jungler, but he was playing top at the time. Biofrost and Cody Sun. So some names that you might know because Biofrost is on TSM and Cody Sun is on 100 Thieves. And we have a blast playing, but during the first split, we fail to make it into playoffs. Fire wanted to go to Korea, and we were talking about going to Korea during this time. On Dream Team, we wanted to do a Korean boot camp, but the team owner decided we didn't have enough money or something. So, but Fire actually leaves and does it anyways, and he wasn't supposed to, and I'm unsure what was true at this point still, but basically what happens is, Fire went to Korea, and then they told me that Fire told them that they should pay for his tickets there and back. So they remove him from the team because he disobeyed what they said in something. I don't know how true that is, but they remove him. So what happens is we actually pick up a Cadian inside the jungle during this time. Biofrost leaves to join TSM, and because Biofrost leaves, we get Norse. Oh no, we get Papa Chow. We get Papa Chow first. So we get Papa Chow after Biofrost leaves. We pick up a Cadian for the jungler. So what happens is also this was a pretty bad time for general management. Not gonna say anybody who was on the general manager side, but like we were told to put all of our garbage inside of the garage, and we were putting our garbage inside of the garage and not just forgetting about it because that's what we were told to do. Like the general manager, whatever, can do all of the cleaning and stuff. The players don't do the cleaning unless we're told to. If we have a chore list or something, we're just doing what we need to do because, yeah, we have different jobs as players. So they threw all of the garbage inside of the garage and just shut the door, and there was literally like 30 pieces of like full bags of garbage inside of the garage. And it was pretty fucking gross, and flies started getting into it and laying eggs to the point that we had an infestation of flies inside of our house. Like, so many fucking flies, like everywhere. And we had to eventually do a extermination thing, you know, like gas the house. So we had to leave the house and it had to get gassed or whatever, so all the flies die. So Broken Shard, who was our coach, leaves, and I didn't know why at the time. I do know now. And then we get Nick Smith instead, who is I think Dignitas's coach, I think. Who was Clutch's coach? Or no, he's Echo Fox's coach. Or was it? I don't know. He's a coach somewhere. He's a coach for LCS somewhere. But anyways, we go into the playoffs because some drama happened between the coaches and the players, and basically we went into playoffs with no coach and us barely scrimming the last week. We barely scrimmed because there was so much fucking drama. Oh, it was so fucking bad. So we go into playoffs and we lose it. We lose playoffs, unfortunately. By the way, me and Cody's son were huge fucking trolls. We had such a good time together. Like, it was hilarious. We were the roommates. We lived in the same room. We had separate beds and stuff, but we shared the same room. We have crazy stuff that we did. Like, we were just so troll. Like, I remember watching a movie late at night at like 2 a.m. and then like it was just me and him. And then at the end of the movie, there's like a song normally, and for some reason we just started dancing in front of the TV, like troll dancing and like singing the song. It was so funny, dude. Cody's actually such a troll despite him being like kind of quiet when he does interviews. But I guess like, yeah, we just really meshed well. It was such a fun time with him. So for the unfun time, basically for the past 3 to 4 months, maybe even 5 months, I was not getting paid. They were not paying me at all my salary. The owner says that he's going to pay it, and we all get tickets back home. And I make it back home, and he still hasn't paid. And he says basically says that he already paid everything. So we have to contact Riot, and we contact Riot. And Dream Team says the first payment, which was the reimbursement plus the signing bonus for that first month, was for the first 2 months of me playing. So actually, I was paid 2 months in advance, and then all the payments afterwards was the months after for third month, fourth month, fifth month, which made no sense. Like, what? Like, and Riot tells me that it isn't enough proof. They told me that it isn't enough proof to get me my money. So I don't get any of my money. Probably over $10,000. I never got it because Riot said I didn't have enough proof, which like obviously makes no sense because I get paid a big portion the first month and then he pays me the next month. So you're telling me that I got paid the first 2 months, then you pay me the third month, but you're paying me it during the first month? Like, what? Like that? I was like, all right, whatever. If you guys are literally telling me I have no proof, but it seems pretty obvious to me. So it was pretty cool seeing that everybody got picked up on Dream Team, basically, except for me. So I was pretty sad because literally everybody got picked up. Like Cody's son got picked up. like by Immortals. Anda got picked up by Immortals. Biofrost got picked up by TSM. Acadian got picked up. Like everybody got picked up but me. So I was pretty sad, but I chose mid lane as my role, and like there's just everybody likes importing mids, so I guess they just like it's probably the hardest role to actually get into an LCS team on. So yeah. So the next year is the last time Challenger Series exists before they franchise. So I tried to join Challenger Series on a good team, and unfortunately, I only had one option, which was a team that I didn't really want to join, which was Big Gods, which is a Brazilian org. I didn't really want to join them, but it was my only option at the time. So I joined them, and we make playoffs with Wiggly. It was me, Wiggly, RF, Biano, and Fabi. And we make playoffs, and me and Wiggly have great synergy, and we know how to talk to each other, but we don't win playoffs. So we lose playoffs, and I love talking with Wiggly. We have such good synergy. We were trolly, just like me and Cody's son. We know how to talk to each other and not be mean to each other, and we didn't get upset at each other when we talked, and we were both talking and going out during the off-season between, because there's 2 splits per year, right? So there was only the first split, and there's a little bit of an off-season, so I'm like talking to him. I'm like, yeah, I can't wait for next season. I think we're going to learn a lot. I'm going to do a lot more to make it so we both can learn off of each other, because I have more experience than you, and I'm trying to help you out because it was his first time ever playing. And the coach, I tell the coach to use Wiggly again, but he actually gets rid of Wiggly. He kicks him. I was pretty upset about this, but I thought about it again. And if he did get rid of him because he believed that this other player was going to be better, then I'm still upset about it. But if he did get rid of Wiggly to allow Wiggly to have a better chance on a different team because he saw the potential in Wiggly, then I'm actually fine with that, because, I mean, that makes sense. I would wish for my teammates to be allowed to go on a better team, but I don't feel like he did that. I feel like he removed him because he didn't believe in him. When I knew that Wiggly was good, I wanted Wiggly on my team, but apparently my team, or my coach, basically didn't want him. So they pick up a new jungler who said was going to shot call for our team, and he did not shot call for our team. It was not good. I didn't really like the team at all. So oh my gosh, my throat is so dry. So we make playoffs again, and during this time we were using Chris and RF Legendary. Chris was not really trying inside scrims, but he was a better player. So his mentality was kind of crappy during the time, because the org wasn't really the best. The housing situation, the food, like we had to do our own stuff. The general manager wasn't doing anything for us. Like it was awful. And then I tell the coach that we should use Chris during the playoffs no matter what, because he's just a better team, or a better player than RF was playing during that time. RF was just not playing as well as Chris, despite Chris not trying inside scrims and being basically being a brat. So the coach says, I want to use RF. So we get a assistant coach, and I have him fly out because I beg for it to the team owner, because I want to have somebody else think about it. And he agreed with me that we should do it. And then day of playoffs, we use RF, who was losing pretty hard 1v1 to the point that basically it was unwinnable. And like, I'm not trying to flame or anything, like, but the KDAs, I looked them up just to refresh my memory, but RF won 0-5 the first game as Jace. There's no way to win with a 0-5 Jace, unfortunately. He was versus a Poppy, so the Poppy's going to be 10 times more useful because Jace needs to win. Then the second game, I'm like, please, use Chris. Like, please, we need to use Chris now, because Chris will have potential versus this person, because he won't lose solo, and we won't be able to lose as a team. Like, because when one person loses so hard, it doesn't matter what lane it is, me, jungle, whoever, it's going to be over. Like, we cannot lose laning phase from just getting 1v1'd. But for some reason, the coach decided to once again put in RF, and he plays again, and I think he won 0-6 the next game. So now he has a total KDA of 0-11, and he wasn't playing well. Like, and that's why I didn't want him to play from the start. It just has nothing to do with like me not liking the guy. He's super likable, extremely memey, extremely nice person to be around, but the game's competitive. You don't put in a player that isn't playing well. And then we finally put in Chris for game 3, and it was the closest game, but we still lost. So finally Chris gets to come in and we get a try, but it didn't work. So we lose. It was the closest game 3 when we used Chris, but we lose, and basically that's the last attempt on Challenger Series that I had. I figured that the next split I'll get picked up by Academy because I've definitely proven myself as a player for countless seasons that I actually am useful on a team. And I actually don't get picked up by an Academy org. I was shocked. I was extremely sad. I was living back home. I was like, wow, like there was 10 orgs, and no one picked me up. I was like, oh my gosh. Like there were people who got picked up that were worse than me, and it really upset me. Like it didn't like make me mad. It made me like just sad. Like it made me question like how good I really was. So I did get some contacts to people because I was like trying to talk with them, and FlyQuest tells me that I can play scrims for them and the first 2 weeks because of visa problems. So Keen has to play their LCS team, and Fly has to play on Fly can't come in. So Fly was their mid laner, and Fly had visa problems. So what happens is I get to scrim with FlyQuest, and I do Grand Side scrims, and I play the first 2 weeks, and I go 3-1. And the only loss that I was TLA Mickey, and I played extremely well versus him too. I played Galio, and I popped off actually. We definitely could have won that game, and all the other games I was able to win. I felt super confident, so I was super happy that I proved myself when I was playing, because even the casters, like when they're coming in, they're like talking about me, saying like, Pekin's been around the block for a few times. He has to show, like, prove himself or something. Like, I felt like I was being outed as someone who, because whenever I played inside any team, like, whenever I go on Reddit to, like, read the comments, I've always just been invisible. Nobody ever talks about me. Like, so I always felt like I was being eyed as, like, you have to do good. And then, like, I was just being put as, like, a bar. Like, if you're not better than Pekin, then you're not going to make Challenger. And if you're worse than Pekin, like, whatever. And Pekin can't improve to a further point, which kind of upset me. I wish, like, they didn't say something like that. But, so they tell me next split, the FlyQuest did that. They're actually going to be removing Fly because he didn't do very well. So, what happens is, Keen goes to LCS, and I get picked up for Academy, and I'm super happy that I'm finally on a team that I can improve on. So I'm finally on an Academy team, and I feel good. We were using JJ at the time, but he got swapped to LCS because he was better than Conquan. So then we started using Conquan. I think JJ would have been better for our Academy team, and we probably could have done even better in the Academy team with him, but that's fine. He was neat inside the LCS at the time, so he had to play up there. And then also during the midseason, Anda got swapped for Meteos, so then Meteos was on it. There was some pretty big drama. I'm not going to go over it. Yeah, because going over the drama would be pretty unfair for the parties involved. So we do make playoffs, to make it pretty clear. We make playoffs, and first we play quarters versus Clutch Gaming, which we barely win 3-2. So I'm pretty fucking happy that we won 3-2 and that we were actually able to win. So we make it in semis versus C9 Academy. I was pretty nervous because I was versus Golden Glue, who at the time was known to be one of the best Academy mins inside of Academy. So I was like, okay, like I can prove myself versus Golden Glue. So and on the other side of the bracket was CLG and Team Liquid, who were not as good as C9. C9 was the best team. So I knew if we could beat these guys, we can take the whole entire thing. Game 1, this is like my final Academy match. I pick Aurelion Sol versus Rise, and I do super fucking good. I play Aurelion Sol so well. I pop off, and I'm super happy with the win. Game 2 happens, and I pick Zoe versus Orianna. Back during the regular split of the season, this is a best of 5, by the way. I played this exact matchup versus Golden Glue, and I got absolutely shit on. He clapped me. I didn't know how to play Zoe versus Orianna back in the day. and he would destroy me whenever I portal jumped. So I played the same exact matchup, Zoe versus Orianna, so much smarter, and I actually learned so much stuff during it that I actually won lane. I could have played even better, but I won lane because I won up in CS, I had a lot more pressure, and I think we even killed him like one time. We did have a good lead, and there were some mistakes that eventually made us lose the game, and we went 1-1. Now, there was huge fucking drama after losing this game. Huge drama. There was a humongous fight. And I cannot say names because this is not fair. So, there was a huge fight, and it was awful. Like, we're still in the middle of a match, and like, it felt like nobody wanted to play anymore. So, it was probably the worst time I've ever felt in a team atmosphere at that moment, in the middle of a series. So, game 3, we pick LeBlanc versus FaZe. I solo kill him one time, and I feel we can still win. And unfortunately, I keep on dying to support roaming up, and it was my fault because I was playing too aggressive, so it was definitely my mistake. But I was pretty happy with the solo kill. But we eventually lose that game. So now we're 1-2. So we go into game 4, and I pick Aurelion Sol again versus Orianna. I do absolutely great mid once again versus Golden Glue. I'm actually up CS. I almost solo kill him, but I'm so nervous that I actually mess up and don't solo kill him one time. And bot lane picked Kog'Maw as a counter pick, and the pick did not work, and they got absolutely slapped in the bot lane, like to the point that it was unwinnable. And basically everybody on the team did pretty poorly besides me. And I'm not like trying to say that like I was amazing or anything, but it's like everybody was like 0-4, and then I was 5-2. I ended the game 5-2 with Aurelion Sol. I remember going on Reddit afterwards because I like reading the comments, and people were literally saying that there was one comment that was like, why did the casters not talk about Pekin Woof more? And that was like something that made me happy seeing it, because one person actually thought I played well, and I had pretty decent upvotes, and it was on Reddit, and I can still read it to this day, where a person was like noticing that I played really well versus Golden Glue, who was known to be a super good mid, versus C9A. Like I played good like every single game pretty well. Like there were some mistakes and there were things I could have done better, but like I ended the Zoe game 2-1-4, and I played extremely well too. The both Aurelion Sol games I popped off, like, so I felt like I was finally acknowledged basically. So during the end of the season, I talked with the coach individually. Every single person has to talk with the coach individually, and I'm saying that I really grew as a player. I'm really happy, and I can't wait for the next split because the drama will be gone, hopefully, and I can improve to LCS level, hopefully, because I felt I improved so much during this split. And if Golden Glue is being told that he can play LCS, of course I can too, seeing that I can play versus him and hold my own, if not get a lead. But at the end of the day, I also said that I was nervous that despite making semifinals, improving myself during the regular split and during playoffs, that I'm going to be kicked because it's happened so many times before. So basically what happens is that they tell me that I have nothing to worry about because I played absolutely well. They say that I definitely am vital to the team and I played super good, so I should not be worried about getting removed from the team. So off season starts. A couple months pass. It's like 1 month before the new season starts, and then they tell me that I'm going to be removed. And I talked to the players, talked to the coaches, I talked to some of the staff, and literally everybody told me that basically I'm going to be safe because, I mean, why would I get removed when I played so well? And then I asked why they're going to remove me, and they told me, number one, that it's culture differences, whatever that means. I did not really dig deep into it because it was pretty clear that apparently I was just being removed for, I don't know, some reason. They don't want me. And also that I'm too expensive when I was probably the one of the lowest paid members on the team. So I am unsure about that as well. So next split, they picked up Sophie as the mid laner, who I really doubt was being paid less than I was. Like, EU import, who's currently on an LEC team. So yeah, I'm really doubting that I'm too expensive. They just wanted to get rid of me. So after that, I basically gave up on going pro and playing on another team because firstly, there's awful age stigma within being a mid laner and playing competitively. Basically, I'm 25 right now. So if I was to try to go pro, I would not get picked up because why would they pick up a 25-year-old? If I'm better than an 18-year-old, they don't care. They'll pick up the 18-year-old because he has more potential, because he has more time to grow, right? I'm already past my prime. I can never improve. Of course, that's wrong, but it doesn't matter. It's League of Legends, and unfortunately, it's just part of the like competitive scene, I suppose. So basically, I just gave up on it because there's almost no chance of me being picked up again unless I lane swap to a different role where there is less age stigma for sure. So I decided afterwards that I think being a content creator is a possibility for me. I did it inside the past, and I probably should have continued doing it. And of course, I have past regrets that I like stopped doing it for a bit, because I was doing it like a few years ago, and if I continued doing it that entire time, I bet I would have grown way faster. As you can see, I'm growing now, right? But I can't change the past, so I'm here now and trying it out, and hopefully it eventually works out. So I started that like 11 months ago. Of course, I did play some amateur games just for extra money, and we actually did pretty well. So we were called the Expendables because there's a bunch of old players on the team. So we went to 2 LANs, one in Wichita, one in ETS or something that's like in Canada, and we won both of them. We got first, and it was really fun. One best of 5 was inside Wichita, and we were 2-2 inside the finals. And in the last game, we were down 10,000 gold and came back through just extremely small plays, and we came back, and it was actually nuts. It was probably one of the craziest games I've ever played. My heart was actually racing so hard because I've never had a game where like afterwards we all just jumped up and we were so excited, and we're all like doing the like jumping up and like hugging each other. And I had so much adrenaline. I never experienced that on stage because all of my games on stage were pretty like, it was easy to see who was gonna win, and this was just like, I don't know, it was a lot of fun. So to answer the question of would I ever go pro again, I mean, of course I would try to go pro again if I had the opportunity to. It's so much fun. I really enjoy being competitive, but I'm being realistic here, and I've basically given up on it because there's basically no chance of me being pro. Like, no lie, I don't see it unless I get out of mid lane and lane swap somewhere else. Last split I was asked to play on a team, but I knew it wasn't worth it because I talked with them before, and I was like, yeah, I mean, you guys are probably gonna not use me the year after, huh? And they're like, we can't say for sure, you know, you could try to prove yourself, and if it doesn't work out, then we'll kick you. And then I'm like, well, I mean, good luck, you can go find someone else. So, and another team also asked me to play, and they seemed a bit better, but during the interview, because they said, oh yeah, we love what you do, you know, we think that you would be a good fit for the team, I didn't really want to sell myself because I just am tired of getting kicked every single year and having people screw me over. Oh yeah, to go back on the Big Gods thing, after we lost on Big Gods and that whole entire thing was over, he also tried to take 3 months pay from me and not pay me out, but I was able to get that money because Riot had a lawyer that time, so I was able to get that. But another owner tried to screw me over, but thankfully I was able to get all my stuff there, even though there was some other bad stuff with the team, you know, with the coaches and stuff and not listening to me about like who we should put in, but it's okay. So yeah, I mean, I didn't really sell myself during the interview with the team. That sounded pretty okay because I just wasn't really interested anymore. Like I basically was like, yeah, I mean, I'm a bit older, and I mean, I'm not really I haven't been thinking about going pro, so I didn't expect you guys to even contact me about this. I'm shocked and whatever. So you can clearly tell that I wasn't really trying to sell myself, because if I did, maybe I could have even taken the spot, but I didn't really want it. So I did get 2 offers and basically declined both. So yeah, it's been about 11 months. I'm pretty happy with how the YouTube's going. It's growing pretty well. And recently, the past couple days, like past 5 days, it's grown extremely quickly with the amount of subs that I've been getting per day. I'm not sure how long this is going to last, but I mean, it's great so far. I hope it continues. And I mean, hopefully I can get partnered by League soon because their program's down. So like, I'm not even partnered with them, despite I definitely fit the criteria now. I get enough views per video that I would meet the criteria that I can be a League partner, which would give me a new account. And then with the new account, I can do an unranked to challenger, so I can show people lower elo and stuff like that. And yeah, so My main goal right now is trying to support myself with stream and YouTube, streaming eventually, but mainly trying to make it as a content creator. It doesn't matter if it's YouTube and streaming or whatever. I also try to do coaching sometimes to make extra money. Like, but those are my main income sources. I would not say that competitive would be an income source anymore. And I think that it also has better potential in 1 to 3 years than going pro does. If I was to go pro again, I would lose out on so much potential in growing my content creation. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I mean, if you have any questions about any of this stuff, just leave inside the comments. I've told this story to many people like that I know that I met in real life, and some of them they're like, wow, that's a crazy story. So like, especially with the one where I went to Ohio. So I guess now all of you guys will know about my crazy adventures. I'm pretty sure I probably missed some stuff, but I tried to make sure that basically everything is in there. And some stuff was already hurried, like with me talking. I could go a little bit in depth maybe, but I didn't want this to be too long. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Obviously, I will maybe do something in the future, kind of vloggy about maybe my YouTube channel in the future. I don't think if there's anything else that I need to talk about with League, really, because I basically told you my entire story here. So yeah, I will see you guys at the 20K subscriber thing, because that's definitely going to come up really soon. And I will see you guys next time.